You got it? Okay. Okay, welcome. I'd like to welcome everybody to the special meeting of the Lee County Board of Commissioners. It's Monday, September 30th, and I'll call the meeting to order. And at this time, we'll stand for a moment of silence and we'll have our pledge. Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. And just a reminder, since it's a special called meeting, we have to sort of stick to the items at hand. So at this time, we'll begin with the business, which is a public hearing for the proposed modification to an economic development project, which we call Project Forge. And Dr. Crumpton, give us some background.
Yes, ma'am. We originally held a public hearing on August 19th, 2019 to discuss the terms of this project. And since that time, there have been some changes that the company has requested. The first being major change is that we now have two subsidiaries of the Kalyani Corporation involved. One of them is Kalyani Precision Machining, and the other one is Bharat Forge Aluminum USA. And the incentive agreement that is here addresses how those investments are split between the two companies into the project. And then redoing the investment, the company's actual total investment is roughly the same, but it's been front-loaded. Instead of being over a 5 to 7 year period, now it's front-loaded to basically a 4 or 5 year period, which raised the total amount of incentive that would be available to them to $6,462,032. The total, the job stayed the same at $460,000. And it's been quite a month, hasn't it? Not Miss Parrish over there, but Miss Gamble over there. Negotiating this contract and getting the provisions in place. So I'll be happy to answer any questions. Bob Joyce, who has been a part of these negotiations all the way, is here as well, representing Saga. Can answer any questions for the board.
Any questions? Okay, at this time, I will open the public hearing. If there's anybody that would like to speak for the amended incentive agreement.
My name is Don Schreiner. I live at 406 Spotswood Drive here in Sanford. And I just have a question about the product that they're going to be bringing. Is there any casting involved in that?
Aluminum forging is what they do.
Forging, I saw
Yes,
that in the paper.
Yes, sir. I'm not sure if there's casting involved in that or not.
Okay, because there is some environmental issues with castings and so forth. That's the reason I asked.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else to speak in favor of the project? Speaking against? Okay.
My name is Jim Womack. I live at 1615 Boone Trail Road here in Sanford, North Carolina. It's no secret that I generally object to all incentive agreements, particularly when it looks like a tax rebate back to companies. This one is even more insidious to the county and the taxpayers of the county because it represents an unprecedented purchase of land, which is going to be given back to the company on top of millions of dollars of tax breaks that this company gets that are not afforded to any other company in Lee County. This company has already announced it's coming here. This company is already known to be coming here. This company is already known to be getting a major incentive from the state of North Carolina, which is going to benefit Lee County. What we're facing with today now is an even further complication that I'm sure you're going to sign up for. And that complication is that now you have to deal with subsidiaries, not just a primary company, but subsidiaries. So this gets even more complicated. And what you're about to do is you're about to sign the taxpayers up to give millions of dollars away to a company that's unproven in the state of North Carolina, much less the United States of America. A company that is a foreign-based company, a company that typically If you do the research on the company, they typically hire their employees through the H-1B program or through outside the county. You're highly unlikely to get any of these members of this company, the workers of this company, from Lee County. You might get a few that go through a welding program or a casting program at the local community college, but by and large, you're not going to get a lot of new jobs in Lee County. You're going to get some tax base increase, and I think that's what's driving this thing. Is everybody's looking at this tax base and they're getting giddy about getting more money out of the tax base and property taxes every year. But I guess got to tell you something that we went through this before with other companies. If you go back to 1997 and do the analysis coming forward, you'll see a net loss of jobs in Lee County since 1997. We got fewer people working today than we had in 1997 in Lee County. And yet we've been giving away millions, tens of millions of dollars in incentives. So we're not going to create new jobs. We're fooling each other. What we're going to do is we're hoping to get more tax base that would already be there anyway, even without this incentive. So now you're going to further complicate this thing by agreeing to deal with these subsidiaries. And any one of those subsidiaries could go defunct, and you'll have a hard time pinpointing who it was, and then trying to collect back on your clawbacks. I would tell you that what brief review I've been able to do of the proposed altered agreement just tells me that it's getting further complicated. And I just don't believe that the county's taxpayers are being well served through this thing. I've said that from the start of this project. And I just think that you're entering into a project that you don't understand. It's unprecedented. It's unproven. I don't think the clawbacks are strong enough, and it certainly is a non-standard type of agreement. There's nothing in any of the incentive agreements that I've seen going back to 1997 when it first became legal that parallels this particular clawback. I don't think any of you can name today a single project in the state of North Carolina that has the same basic provisions. There's not been one. And so we're going to break new ground. We're going to try to do something new for the first time and use the taxpayers of Lee County as your guinea pigs to see if it works. I just, when a company announces they're coming here, and we've had a couple of other companies that have done the same thing in the past. When they announce they're coming here, whether or not you do this deal or not. And so I'll quote Tommy Mann from around 2011 when we had this conversation before. Tommy Mann used to be chairman of the EDC, made the comment, well, it's really not about anything else than showing them a little love. And I think it's pretty insidious when the county commissioners are just showing a little love to a company to the term of $6+ million with the taxpayers' money. That's my hard-earned money. And I don't think the majority of citizens in Lee County appreciate that, playing those games, especially when our combined tax rate between the city and the county today is the highest in central North Carolina. I think you're going to get that tax base growth anyway, even if you don't do this deal. And you may be too far down the pike now, having made promises and guarantees, but the taxpayers won't appreciate it. And I think come November of next year, you're going to know that. You're going to know that in spades. Now, the last thing I'd like to mention is this annexation. Another insidious feature of this county. It's about time this county got back in the water and sewer business, because you're losing footprint in this county. You're being forcibly annexed into the city to get these companies. The city is holding hostage these new companies that otherwise would come here. Not just the companies we know about, the companies we never knew about, that won't come here because of the oppressive taxation in this county. When you combine the city and the county taxes, no other city anywhere in this part of the state has the tax rate that we have. And it went up in the city just recently. It just went up. And you really didn't lower the tax rate, but a hair for some people, because the tax rate that you just created when you did your reval only dropped the marginal rate a little bit, and it certainly didn't keep up with the increases that a lot of the people experience. So what you've done is we've seen our taxes go up in the net thing, and what we're doing when we increase the tax bases is just generating more money for the commissioners to spend and for the county manager to spend. I think, by going back to the annexation piece for a second, this should not be conditional upon annexation. There should not be an annexation requirement here. The county, if necessary, should get back in the water and sewer business so that we can actually provide for these companies something that would be a better tax base or a less oppressive taxation enforced by the city. If you could get your tax base down to around 65 to 70 cents for the Lee County, you'd see unprecedented growth in this county. The kinds of growth that we saw in the 1990s when it peaked out, when we started doing incentives. And that's exactly when it peaked out. In 1997, you go back and look at the data, you had started having losses of jobs in 1997 when we first started offering incentives to these companies, because now our taxes go up. So, you know, the net of all of this thing is you should stop allowing these companies to be forcibly annexed into the city so that they can get water and sewer. And you'll get a lot more growth, organic growth, natural growth in this county. And the second thing is you gotta stop giving away the taxpayers' money, because some of us are really getting tired of it. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay. Anyone else to speak against the project?
Can I add something else?
Sure.
In regard to what Jim said, has anyone done a return on investment? I mean, businesses do that. A business won't go out and buy something just because they need it. They want to get a return on their investment. So you go out and do an analysis, financial analysis, to see what the return's going to be. Has that been done? And what is it?
We Go ahead and make your comments.
Well, that's I just have the question. You know, if a return on investment has not been done, I think we owe it to the citizens of Lee County to tell them what kind of return they're going to get on this investment. That's a lot of money for Lee County. So that's a question I have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Schreiner. Anyone else? Hi.
Hey, I'm Lisa, live on Landler Drive. And what I'd have to add, I know I missed most of what everybody else said, sorry. However, probably what nobody mentioned is that everybody's concerned about how much money it is. But you know, my concern is the people in this community, the children in this community. Our school systems, basically, they are our future. And we need to look at the areas where we're going to give money away to some Indian company whenever our people don't have enough to, are mismanaged and need to be better managed with the funds that we have available to the citizens of this community. I don't know if y'all seen it, but this week there are fights going on in our school systems. The kids are videoing themselves and putting it on social media in the schools. Meanwhile, what are the SROs doing?
Can we stick to the, we have to stick to our.
Okay, yes, but they're thereby saying we need more resources for them. There are better places to put this money that will benefit the people who live here, who are growing up here, and who are our future. Thank you.
Can we get your name and address one more time for the record?
Lisa Reagan, RAGAN, 2624 Landler Drive.
Thank you, Ms. Reagan. Thank you. Okay. All right. At this time, we'll close the public hearing. Thank you very much. Okay, item B is the consideration of incentive agreement for Project Forge. Dr. Crumpton?
Yes, ma'am. Just to answer a few of the items that came up. First of all, the return is calculated at 20% a year over the 10-year agreement. So the county nets about $150,000 a year in increased taxes over the life of the contract. So we don't do 100% agreements. It was one of the things that was the toughest to negotiate with the company. Was I actually made the statement to the company that we had to have a return on investment. Otherwise, we could not do the deal. So we have a return on investment. I provided those spreadsheets. I didn't bring them tonight because I thought we'd already been through that, but we do have spreadsheets that show the return that the county will get over the 10-year period. I'd be happy to provide that. Again, The total investment by the company in new taxable investment will be $170,363,980. And yes, we are after tax base. As I explained to the company, it is the goal of this county to reduce the tax rate. And it's been proven that we cannot lower the tax rate unless we have more revenue from other sources. So, we have tried to cut. We've gone through performance reviews, which yielded very little in the form of a tax reduction from expenditures. So, this is why the county is involved in this, and this is why we have investments in Saga. So I'll be happy to answer any questions in the agreement. There are clawbacks in this agreement. Schedule D, which I was just discussing with Commissioner Reeves, gives a detailed clawback if they do not perform. So I don't know what else I can say about the agreement.
Any questions or comments? Is there a motion? We'll need two motions. So,
Madam Chair, I move to approve the material terms of the incentive agreement for Project Forge to delegate the county manager and the county attorney to negotiate and resolve any non-material terms of the agreement and to authorize the chair to execute the agreement once finalized.
any questions or discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
Okay, and then we need the second motion for per the attorney's request.
Okay. Madam Chair, I move to authorize staff to proceed with filing a petition for annexation and rezoning request for the property purchased in connection with Project Forge following closing on the subject property.
Okay, any discussions or questions on that motion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. And item C, consideration of an interlocal agreement between the City of Sanford and Lee County related to site preparation contributions for Project Forge. Dr. Compton.
Yes, ma'am. The county, as part of its incentive agreement, is allocating $700,000 to the City of Sanford for site preparation. The agreement goes through what the county and the city are responsible for. The county is really responsible for the payment, and the city will be taking care of acquisition of right-of-way, clearing, grading, and preparation of the site pad in exchange for that money. Annexation and rezoning is a requirement since the county is extending utilities to the site, and the company has agreed to the annexation.
Okay. Any questions or comments on the interlocal agreement?
What was the city's part of that? Do you know, Dr.
The city is spending, out of their own funds, close to $1 million on it. Plus, they have grant funds that are coming in to help with the extension of the water and sewer. I don't have all their numbers, and I think it still, changes based on where the water and the sewer lines and the road is going onto the site. So they're still working through that, but it's more than the $700,000 that we're paying.
We can request copies of their input after it's finalized.
And I think that's in the agreement, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that they provide that to us as they go along. Okay, any more questions or comments? Or
Move to
motion?
approve
Okay,
interlocal agreement as presented.
okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay, well, at that time, that concludes the business of tonight. We need one more motion.
Move to adjourn.
Okay, all those, I'm sorry, do you need something?
I was just, after you adjourned, I was going to make a statement while
Oh,
everybody
okay,
was here, but I
okay.
can't do it until
Okay,
you adjourn.
Okay, all those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we're adjourned.
Don't forget the Broadway Let Park dedication at 10 o'clock on Thursday. If you can make it, it would be a great thing. the park looks incredible from what we took over. And, you know, it's a big deal for the town of Broadway. The folks down there are using the playground, and
Every time I go by it.
it's a
Somebody's
big
in it.
deal for them. So
I got a lot of feedback this morning from that, yeah.
if you go in the building and you see where Tiny Tots, of course, you had to see where Tiny Tots used to be.
Yes,
And then
to
you see where
appreciate
they
it.
are now, and you see the difference.